All right, so this is the Claro meeting for April 15th, 2020. Let's get started.
Okay, so I have myself two things. One is to review the designs both for the tour that I've been working on this week, also the to review a few things that I did for the prefix and suffix to see if you like the what I proposed. And also I discussed with the Design for Drupal organization team, and they actually want, instead of having the Design for Drupal on site, they are planning on having a sprint focused on Claro. Hi. So that's also that I would like to discuss, because we should so we just had the first meeting yesterday, and we will have to discuss how to organize that. Well, when we talk about that, I will give you more info. Not sure if anybody else has anything else to talk about.
So I would like to talk about, we were thinking of, I think we talked about this on the last week's call about the Muse UI approach. And we were talking about that yesterday, and we are thinking that we would like to propose a time when we could kind of sprint on that.
Great. Sounds really cool. Okay. And
also
does
actually, sorry,
go.
Another topic I would like to talk about is Vue's bulk operations.
Oh yeah, sure. But I didn't jump into that yet. Into the design, sorry, I mean. Okay. Would you like to start with the Vue's UI, and then we can move forward to the other things?
Yeah, we can start with that, or the Vue's bulk operations, because Sasha is here too.
Okay.
So which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with Vue's bulk operations, for example.
Okay. So we're thinking that we probably, even though it's not in the scope of the Claro stable, we think that because we have quite a few people giving feedback on the fact that you have to scroll a lot on various pages, and one of the pages that kind of is struggling a lot from that is the content listing. And the reason for that being in that state right now is because we haven't really implemented the filters and the bulk operations in a way that we probably want to implement them, because right now they are always visible even though you don't necessarily need them always. So we have the designs at a state which is pretty close to being complete for the bulk operation. So we thought that we would probably start with implementing that. And it would be nice to confirm how the design is supposed to work, so that once we actually start working on that, we actually understand how the designers thought that it would work.
That's a good point. I'm just trying to find. Okay, yeah.
So once we have some kind of an idea how it would work, what we are probably going to do is we are going to build an HTML prototype for that, so that we can, before actually implementing it on this page, we can confirm that everyone agrees that it's how it is supposed to be.
Okay, this is the last one we discussed, I think. Were you talking about this one, Lauri?
Yeah, so I'm talking about this one.
Lauri,
so I think Jin has implemented this, but I'm not sure if Jin has implemented it exactly the way that we discussed how it should be.
I don't have any Jin instance here. I'm not sure.
I can show that I have that, or
okay.
Sasha if you want. Ready.
Will you quickly show it, or should I?
I have it open, so I can definitely. So it's here. Oops. It's right now in here, and then once you click it, it becomes visible. So I guess the main thing that is different to what I was. Oh, is this actually? Is this something you've been working on? Because I thought that this was in the tabbing order. This was before the table, but now it's not. So was it like that before, or did I make a mistake when I was testing this? Because this looks pretty close to what we actually talked now.
Yeah, it should have been like this before, but maybe there was an issue.
Yeah, maybe there was like a caching issue or something. I don't know. But yeah, this looks exactly like how I understood that this should be implemented. Well, I guess then we have. So, is this a design that we are all happy with? Is this approved? Can we just take this and implement this with Drupal Core and Claro?
I think maybe having the other buttons and also let me think. Also the region that is fixed probably should have the other color. If you see a Claro normal instance, the header has a lighter color.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Should we be using that color?
Yeah, I would think so. That's one of the reasons I didn't move forward here, because that's exactly one of the reasons I wasn't sure which path to take, because actually one of the things that we need to discuss at some point is the 50 shades of gray that we have right now, and adding a new gray here was making me a little bit afraid to add more grays, especially now that we have to discuss again the secondary button gray. So I will try to stick at least for now with a color that we already have.
Yeah, I mean, like what I did, I mean, like the colors and everything is a bit different for Chin, which shouldn't be like maybe as a reference for Claro. What I did there was just like to change or to increase the contrast, that like these two sticky elements are, like just better visible.
Yeah.
That was basically the main reason behind it, but I would also stick to one of the 50 shades of gray we already have there, which we could use. But I think as like both like the table header and also like the bulk form itself are sticky elements in the end, they should maybe use the same color. At least that should be the case, no matter which gray of the ones we already have is used.
Yeah, I agree that making the background a little bit darker helps seeing it. So it would be better to maybe have another gray a little bit darker. But since we haven't done that, and right now we have grays that are almost blue, like the active one that we can see right now or the hover background that we have right now, it's a gray that it's a little bit more blue. Then we have the gray on the header, then we have other grays that are more gray and more neutral. So we have so many grays right now that I think we really need to go and take a look to all of them. So I will just stick with the one that we have.
Okay, so we can definitely do that, and if we decide something else in the future, we can change it.
But I think this shouldn't block the implementation, right? In the end, it's maybe just like, adjusting the background color. But
Yeah,
shouldn't
exactly.
block you for like starting with the implementation of it.
Yeah, I think we should be good to go at least to start with, and maybe once we have actually implemented something, people have more feedback on it.
Yeah, that's great. So if you want to take a look to let me check to the, if you want to take a screenshot of what's right now on Figma, I mean, I guess that's what you were checking, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's enough information to start the direction to use the small versions of the button and the select and so on.
Yeah,
guess
I think
that's
we could use the light gray, which is basically almost the same color, or at least in the same region of the shade as the one which Laurie just showed. So, but yeah, we can have a look into colors, I guess, which is also a bigger topic in general, as you mentioned, right?
Okay, I think that unblocks us on this issue. So thank you.
Great. Do you want to talk now that you're talking also about the Views UI?
Yeah. So we were thinking that we would sprint on the Views UI in a couple of weeks, maybe like kind of around beginning of May, and we would probably spend like around 2 weeks on it, and we probably could use help from people, at least confirming our designs and so on, and then we could see what can we get done in a few weeks. And we are probably also going to take a look at what Jin has done for Views UI, because we could take some of the ideas from there, and then we can see if there's something that we can, given that we have probably a good amount, a little bit of time at that time, if there's something we can take further. So
That's
is
great.
that a time frame you are going to be available for providing some feedback and potentially helping on some things if we have questions or blockers?
Yeah, I will be around for sure. I'm not going to take any vacations or anything, so I will be around. And I also have, I always have several hours per week for this assigned. So yeah, come in for feedback. I won't be able to spend a whole day.
Yeah.
But I can spend several hours for sure.
Sounds good. So I'll inform you all once we have confirmed, once we've decided when are we gonna do that.
Great. Okay. So maybe something now that you're all here, let's talk about the design for Drupal thing. So they are planning on doing a sprint instead of a long sprint instead of the on-site event. So they want to focus all the sprint itself on the Claro, basically both on the development side and also on the design side, because there's going to be also designers. Probably there will be designers interested on that also. So the idea is that to kick off with a little bit of an introduction to Claro and also introduction to the design system. And well, I'm not really sure how it's going to be exactly, but it's going to be, I think, around the 12th or 10th of June. They were discussing, they weren't sure if it could be one day of sprinting or actually 24 hours and having people around the globe. And they were trying to, they were discussing also trying to contact people that has front-end experience to help on the mentoring, have like a session for mentoring people, and also planning some issues to give to people and so on. And I will probably try to have a day focused on that to help people also sprinting. And they were saying that we ideally should find more people to help sprinters and so on. So it's something that I'm not sure if something any of you will be interested. If you, Lauri, could be available that day to review the commits and maybe do some, I'm not sure if a live commit or something like that, but something like what happens on a DrupalCon, that one of the patches that has been posted that day gets to be on the, gets committed or something like that. So that's, I actually told them that maybe that was a possibility. So not sure if this is something that you might be willing to do, or maybe I still have to discuss that, but maybe trying to have more people from Lula, but also helping on the both on the design and the front end sprints. And I'm not sure if other people might be interested also. And if the thing actually goes ends up being this 24 hours sprint, probably it would be good to have people from Europe to mentor on European times that where the Americans are not available. And I don't know. So basically the question, the first and most important question if you, Lauri, will be available for being at least approachable that day.
Yeah, I think, so I'm not sure if I missed it, but I didn't catch a specific day, but
10 or 12 of June.
10 or 12. I'm
not really sure which day it's going to be.
Yeah, I think around, let me see. So yeah, I think I can make it seems like it's from Wednesday to Friday. I'm pretty sure I can make myself available on any of those days. And okay. I can see if Ben, do you think you would be available? Are you taking any holiday or anything like that?
I think I'll be available. It kind of depends on what our quarantine situation is, but if that's all squared away, then it should be fine. Or even if it's reduced slightly.
Great.
Yeah.
And Sasha, would you be available to at least review some designs or actually review some issues that people has submitted or something? Would you like, or well, we can discuss it further on time.
Yeah, I will need to check with my work balance if like the project status, but I think it should be doable, but I will give you an update later.
Okay, it's in June. It's like in 1 month and a half from now.
Yes.
So, or even more, it's in 2 months, so there's enough time. So yeah, great.
We'll mention it within my team as well if anyone else is interested to participate as a sprinter.
Yeah, it's actually the first sprint that is going to happen around Claro. I think it's a good opportunity to have it move forward because I'm not sure when a stable release should be to have it on Drupal, on the next Drupal 9 release.
Yeah, that would be, I think the next option would be, or the earliest option would be in November, December this year.
So it would actually make sense, would help a lot to get closer to the stable release.
Yeah. I think it would be great. I think it was very helpful to do a sprint in DrupalCon last year. So yeah, I think it would be nice to do another push.
Great. So, okay, the next topic that I had is some explorations that I've been doing from what we discussed last week. And well, this is really fast explorations. And I think this pattern makes sense, but I think this one with the small prefix, it could be a suffix also. It looks weird, maybe because I haven't seen this pattern anywhere else. I think it what actually makes more sense, but I think it's confusing. It seems like it's two fields or something like that. I mean, this pattern, I recognize it. I mean, I've seen it somewhere else, well, or this one, but I'm not really sure about this. Like, this will be on a mobile where this actually doesn't fit on the left, or a small space or something like that. Do you have any thoughts?
So I'm not sure I fully understand what is on this field. So maybe you can.
It's a prefix. So instead of being this, am I sharing the screen?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
do.
you are.
Okay. So this is the prefix, and when you actually run out of space because, well, you have a space here, but maybe you really will want something like this. Yeah, come on. And you have a smaller display, a smaller width, and it doesn't fit, so probably make that jump into 2 lines is the option for this, because yeah, something that I tried, not sure where right now. Anyway, so something that I also tried was doing something like this, but it's a little bit strange. So do you have any thought? If not, don't worry.
I don't. It's just I can tell that I was not able to really understand what was going on without explanation. That's what I can tell. But it could be because of none of this is interactive to me. So
yeah,
it also looks confusing to me. It looks like 2 fields stacked on each other.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what I thought also.
Also, the you know, like the weak contrast between the label and the and you know, like the content of the field itself makes it even harder to to see a difference.
The problem is that having a lighter color here will make this more to have more, well,
yeah, no, I mean that's
but
too
it's
much.
not.
But maybe
yeah, but
also
it doesn't have enough. Go ahead.
But maybe also the border needs to be, you know, like a bit lighter, and also I mean,
Like
it
this
could
one?
like a disabled field, or you know, like in that direction.
Like
so that you can
this.
clearly see that it's not something you can interact with. That's basically the main issue I can see currently.
Like this one, probably.
Yeah, but then maybe also the border on top left and bottom should be the same, like a lighter color as well.
I see. Okay, so something like this. Well,
yeah, it would have a lighter border, but yeah, but
makes sense. I'm gonna try it later.
So I don't think this idea will work, but maybe some version of it would. But would it be possible for when the input is in focus, the prefix size is different, or it just changes appearance in some manner? So when it's not active, it's taking up all the space. You see what you need to see. But then when you're actually typing and potentially pushing it, running out of space, it's either made smaller or pushed away in some way. But we could leverage. The information's only critical when the input's not in use.
So something more like this. Well, I'm not sure if exactly.
Yeah, maybe we could use like, you know, like the ellipsis, or what's it's called?
Yeah, ellipsis.
Something like that, and then once you hover, it will basically show the whole prefix or suffix, because like as I mentioned last time, as you most probably also see the issue if you additionally would have like a suffix to the prefix, then like the content area for the input field is quite small, depending on the screen size, right? Or could lead to a very small input.
Yes.
So of these two, I think the right one is better, which has the dark background, because it separates it makes it look less like a field.
Yes.
But I'm wondering if the contrast should be even bigger, because right now it looks like, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing that it looks like a disabled field, because in a way you could think of it like that. It's something related to the content which you cannot edit.
No.
Yeah, like that makes sense to the users. I don't know. Maybe the background should be a little bit darker, and maybe the text should be a little bit darker.
In here, you mean a little bit darker?
Like, I mean, maybe just if the text would be black, like the text on the field itself, so it doesn't look disabled, it looks something else, then it could be, yeah, like this. But I don't know.
I think I'm not sure where I created. So you mean all something like this? That is even.
I think this is too dark now, but yeah, the direction is
something more like this.
Maybe the one step is fine. It's just like one step darker from the one that we had.
Okay.
This is already kind of pretty dark, yeah, like this. And now the text would be the same. Now it's very clear that
it's another thing. Yeah, that's right. You're right. Okay, I'm gonna give another thought to that. Thank you. That was super useful.
But I think the one with the dark background could work if you can just figure out like a color and so on.
Okay. And does this make
about,
sense? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I think it doesn't make sense in this example because it doesn't look like you're running out of space. So maybe just making it obvious that you're running out of space, that this is the variation that we use when it's running out of space. Maybe that's when it's not going to look strange.
Okay.
Right now you have a lot of space actually available on the right side of this.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna check that, and I will try to create an example that makes more sense. Great, thank you. Then another one is I've been working with the tour component. I already worked a little bit on the tooltip, but I didn't actually move forward. The tooltip was something that I started to work with here for the range input, and I based a little bit of the work on that. But also, when I was actually defining it and checking all the contrast and everything, it turns out that the primary button doesn't have enough contrast. The background of the primary button doesn't have enough contrast with the background. So actually a color that will have enough contrast towards the background, here the background has a little bit of opacity, is this blue, or actually a yellow one. And the problem is I really don't like to actually suddenly change to a yellow button. I think it doesn't make sense, and actually changing to this blue is a little bit strange. And I'm not really sure if on a contrast perspective, this will make sense if the white text already makes sense, like next step or something like that, if it will be enough. Or otherwise, maybe we should try to have a blue version for the dark interfaces.
Yes, now we're digging
Huge
into
dilemma. I know.
a topic which I recently digged into with the dark mode for Chin. Yeah, we can have a chat about possibilities how we can make that you know, look very neatly integrated, but I agree that we might need to have another shade of blue for, you know, if you use it on a dark interface or on a dark card or whatever.
Yeah.
I would personally not use the yellow one because it's so off with you know, like with the buttons that the user is used to, you know, like color wise. So I would rather just adjust the blue to, you know, like that contrast and everything appears right on a dark background.
So we should actually design for a dark mode, even on the white version. That's cool.
We already did.
You mean for the messages, right?
No, I did once a concept
the
for
the gene.
no, not for Chin, for even for Claro, there is a dark mode node edit form in the next gen admin UI Figma.
Oh, okay.
In there we already have another shade of blue for a dark interface. Let me quickly grab it. I can paste it to the other file. 1 second.
Okay.
So, can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there I used another shade of blue, just, you know, for contrast reasons, which is, you know, like
Nice.
which works really well with the dark background. So something similar to that could be used, you know, for primary buttons on a dark background, which would also
That's a
lead
really
or
good
open the door for the first steps into a dark mode as well.
Yeah, both for the dark mode and also for the outside in, well, the sidebar or anything that has to come if it's dark or whatever. So whatever interface we end up working on, already having a dark version of it, it's great. And I see you've been working on these borders, which actually make a lot of sense also.
Yeah, there was even more done in the Chim theme. Basically, a lot of all the UI elements are already worked on for a dark mode there. So it's a bit of an effort, but with CSS3 variables and everything, it shouldn't be a big hassle. The only problem I see, it's not just, you know, like changing some color values. You need to think about other contrasts and, you know, like elements which should be you know, for contrast wise, and yeah, it has some restrictions and so on, but
okay.
You have
Any
the
other
settings tray too, which needs to
exactly, that's a word, yeah, exactly.
yeah, that's
great.
True. Did we even do that at some point?
I think so, but I'm not really sure. So I know we discussed it. I'm not really sure if we ended up actually actively working on that more than just doing some tests. I don't think so. So, and does anybody else has any thoughts on this?
I don't know. I think that light blue could look better because of, I mean, on the dark mode, it looks fine because it's consistent. But the problem is that the tour could appear on a page where you have the blue primary button placed somewhere. So it feels like it's off if the primary button looks different in different elements. But I don't know. Maybe it's just that I'm kind of very into that idea.
Yeah, that's why I was actually, so I didn't saw that clear that we had to go that path. seeing this, it plays really well here, but seeing this on a UI that it's closer to that, like, but for Claro, it's kind of, yeah, just using another color. I'm not sure if this is actually a lighter color in 7. I'm not really sure. It seems the same, but I'm not sure.
It's hard to tell because it has a gradient, right?
Yeah.
But from the measurement, or from my eye, this is a lighter color than the save button at the bottom. So
yeah, even if it is, it's hard to distinguish. It's
exactly
much smaller difference.
Yeah, but we have to go to an intensity closer to this than to this to actually pass the contrast requirements. So it will be super clear that it's another blue. But anyway, we can just play a little bit longer with that and maybe see if we came up with something different. At least I guess everybody agrees on that a yellow one here doesn't make sense, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Then that's all I had to show today or to discuss. Not sure if you have any issue that you need me or anyone to review on a design perspective.
I don't have anything at the moment. Does anyone else have?
No? Okay.
Nope.
Nope.
Anybody else has anything else to discuss? Okay, then thank you all. It was really productive today.
Yeah, thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Have a nice
Talk to you
day,
later.
evening,
Bye.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
you too. Bye.
Bye.